Good afternoon, and welcome to City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that the mayor has initiated in order to keep the residents of the city informed, in order to provide transparency for city government and for his administration. So each Thursday we have a new City Speaks show. Today we have some special guests with us. We have from our Grand Prix offshore boat race.
Right.
We have with us Larry Bleal, Roderick Cox. We have Brittany Tomlinson and Noel Faulkner, all here for our Great Lakes offshore race. It's going to be on the weekend of August 17th. We also have with us, of course, Mayor Rosas and Hector Rosas, our special events coordinator. Before we start talking about the offshore race, however, I have a question that one of our residents has brought up, and so we'll try to answer that, and that's for Hector. Hector, the music on the pier has just been phenomenal this year. It has been absolutely fantastic. So many people are there every single Thursday. It's become a family event. You had a group there last week. I think they were the warm-up act, or 2 weeks ago, and they were called the Big Tone Band. I had at least half a dozen people say to me, when are we going to get that band back? So it's out there for you. Tell me about what you're doing with Music on the Pier.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here on the City Speaks show. And as Special Events Director in the City of Dunkirk, I'm very proud of the work we've done here with our special events and the Dunkirk festivals. Now, with regards to the Big Tone Band is a fine local band, and we've opened up the option with the blessing of Mayor Rosas, whose idea came to fruition by including the local acts as an opening act in the Music on the Pier attractions and the events that we hold here during the 13-week summer season. So we're very happy to have a Big Tone Band on board. They just played a phenomenal act, was it last week, I believe, and excuse me. I just want to say that they'll be back again next year. This year we've got over 50 bands lined up for the huge summer events, and we're looking forward to bringing to you the Great Lakes Offshore Grand Prix 2018 on August 17th, which includes on that date of August 17th, which is a Friday, a community parade which begins at 5 p.m. So I'll thank our sponsors a little later. I'm sure the mayor will thank them also, and we'll leave it to you from here. Okay,
well, thanks, because the question about the parade did come up. When is it going to be and what's going to happen with the parade? And so thank you for answering that question for Friday. That's great. So we're looking forward to that. Let's get started. And I have a few questions regarding the offshore boat race. It is going to be just a huge event. And Mayor, you have really worked hard with sponsorship with the county, with everybody to bring this on board. Tell me a little bit about the efforts that you have made.
Well, it's teamwork. It's called teamwork. We have a team that's working really hard to bring these bigger events to our city, and I can't be any more proud of our team. We have a special events coordinator that is really working and putting in more time and effort to make sure that we have really top-notch events here. I'm very proud that we're bringing this boat race here. We want to showcase our waterfront. That is the gem of our city, and this boat race will do that for us.
Right. And it's going to just be an enormous event, and people are talking about it already, and so it's still a few weeks away. Tell me a little bit about, I know the boats are phenomenal, and you've had races all over the country, right?
Right.
So where are some of the places that you've raced?
Well, let me jump out and say, Mayor, we really appreciate you bringing us in the city and everyone that's been involved, Hector, and the community is the first time I've ever been here. So the community has been fantastic, and we had the opportunity to have some initial meetings, and here was just last month a real big planning meeting for this event. And we walked into the conference room, and there was probably 25 or 30 different people representing different organizations and volunteers and groups and police chief and fire chief and everyone involved, and it was just great to see how the community has gotten so behind us, so much behind us, and everyone, as the mayor said, it's definitely a team effort. You can't do it without team supporting you, and so for us in offshore racing, we have 35 people involved in our organization that have been around boat racing for decades, and we've been doing it for a long time. And so we've raced all around the United States, heavily in the Midwest, the East Coast, and Florida, and throughout. And the opportunity, and we're offshore powerboat racing, so it's a little ironic that you're coming on a lake. But we bring these high-performance offshore powerboats, to lakes, up here, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and they're a little bit different. Not everyone's used to seeing high-performance boats like this. So, average speeds for some of our top boats, are on calm conditions could be 140, 150 miles an hour. So it's a little different than your normal boating weekend, type of vessel.
Well, now, so you talk about on calm conditions, and one of the questions that has come up, and certainly at one of our previous council meetings, was what if the conditions aren't calm? What do we do?
Yeah, sure. To make it look like how most people look at it is the fact that when it's a really flat race course, it really keeps the boats a little bit closer together, a lot higher speeds. But these guys are used to running offshore, higher, bigger seas, and it's nothing for 3 to 5 foot seas, that they can race in. So you won't see the speeds come out of the boats as much. You'll see the boats flying in the air a lot more. But rougher conditions really don't affect these boats. And how when it gets to a point that it is flat calm, as they call it, then you'll see the speeds increase and something like that.
So when we talk about speeds and the boats flying more because of the waves, what kind of safety factors come into play with that, and are we prepared for those things should there be an incident?
Great question, Vicki. We have a combination of about 16 divers that support us all the way around the race course. We have different zones, so we have about 15 different support boats that have different responsibilities all the way around the race course. On the outside, supporting making sure that spectators don't get involved or too close to the race course. We have 6 or 7 medic boats and transport boats that are stationed around the inside of the race course. And from our staff and the medical and the cooperation that we're getting with fire and local EMS and everyone that's involved with that, we have a complete strategy. So it's such that on the water we do our best to manage all the assets and everything that's going on. If there's an incident, most fans, new fans, are surprised to see that not only is there a canopy on the top of the boat that the driver and the throttleman actually get in, but if the boat were to flip over, then there's an escape hatch, which is now basically pointing up that they go through in the event that they have a rollover or something like that. Pretty infrequent, doesn't happen very often, but the support boats will be on scene, and if there's an incident that requires divers to be deployed out of the helicopter, a helicopter will be on scene and have a few divers jump in the water.
Okay, good. So that's good to know that at least there'll be some safety features. How far offshore? You talked about being out on the lake. How far offshore are they going to be?
Well, here, we've tried to establish a course that sort of brings them not only starting on the outside of the breakwater, but going down to the sort of land mass on the right-hand side, coming back inside the break wall. And so they're coming, basically straight back towards the pier. The pier will be our finish line, so it's basically a rectangle. So it'll be on the outside, not too far. I mean, we want from the lighthouse, which is very pretty, straight across, and then allow it to come as close as possible, to the beaches as we can, and cut across the pier, and then go back out the channel. So we're just making sure everything's lined up right and works well.
So how long is the entire perimeter or the
doing the math on it, it's somewhere around 3 miles. So if you actually were going all the way around, so depending on how many boats we have, depending on the day and the conditions, depending on how we sort of flight everybody, we could be doing anywhere from 18, 20, 25 laps. So it just depends on the whole configuration. Wow. That won't be set until sort of the last.
So now, minute. Mayor, let me ask you, if that's where, if it's going to be from the lighthouse and the pier and so the people can see it from the beaches, and we're going to have all kinds of activity, certainly from the city's perspective. We have the VIP tent that's going to be there. How are you going to manage all of these things, and what kind of participation do you expect?
Well, we have our our police department, our fire department are all going to be on board to help us out. We have help from the county. We have our volunteer firemen are bringing a team in. So we have plenty of help. Our DPW will be involved in this, and so I believe we'll be able to manage it.
Okay, and then of course, Hector, from the special events point of view, I know you're going to have to staff up to make sure that we've got everything going, and you probably really be pulling your hair out that weekend. What kinds of extra things are you going to be doing?
Well, first of all, we want to thank our presenting sponsors. Without their help, we wouldn't be able to accommodate a VIP tent and whatnot. But DFT Communications celebrating 120 years in our area. We have Lakeshore Savings Bank, and we have Athenix Corporation, the new drug manufacturing plant here in the town of Dunkirk. So those are our 3 presenting sponsors, not to mention the help we're going to have from our divers. I believe we'll have a total of about 30 divers that are going to be prepared to go in the water if needed, with the assistance of the state police, the county, and the city dive team. Not only are they going to be present, but the offshore racing group bring their own divers. And they have their own safety team. Doctors are flying in the chopper up above us. And many safety issues come into play. We just come back from a safety meeting this morning. We talked all about that and finalized some of those issues.
So you're really the point guy for coordinating things within the city. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're going to make sure the helicopter flies over the top, but Hector, just so nothing happens.
Right.
you know.
Every now and then you can just drop some confetti down or something, right? Right. So now we've talked about the parade on Friday and the race itself. Tell me a little bit about your schedule. What is going to be scheduled and when?
Sure. The boats will either be arriving, Thursday night into Friday. The parade is, going to be a complement of our boats to, I believe, some, city bands and different people here participating in the parade. And forgive me for not knowing all the exact streets, but we go to 6th and then go, I think, Central all the way down. And it's really neat where, we get everyone, included. And when we do these parades, we could start off an event for its inaugural event that may not have as many people come to the parade, but it's amazing how they do grow. And when they see all these big boats up close, and you see all the little kids running around and all the families and how everyone enjoys it, it's a pretty big deal. So we'll be running down the parade on Friday, and then sort of getting down towards the pier and making it right and getting our boats back in the pit area, and then having the opportunity to go out and listen to all that great music out there on Friday night. The rest of the weekend we will do what we do is we do our testing. So from noon to 4 on Saturday afternoon, our boats go out on the water independently. You'll see the coordination with the police, our boats driving down into the crane area, as we call it, which will be out on the pier. A big crane will pick them up, drop them in the water, not drop, but carefully place them in the water. They're 12,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, and then they'll go out. They'll go out for just a short period of time, come back, make changes to the boat as they see, and then potentially get pulled back out, go back to the pit if they have to make some mechanical changes, and then come back again. Or if people are in pretty good shape that don't need to do testing, here they've never been here, so they probably want to. And then on Sunday, besides the activities here on the pier on Saturday night, and everybody surely will enjoy that, Sunday we'll do races, starting at 12 o'clock, in the afternoon. Depending on the number of boats and what we schedule, we'll try to get as much action as we possibly can, and you never know what surprises will show up.
Right. So now Sunday's going to be the actual race day.
Yes.
Right. So now from the time the boats get here on Thursday or Friday, we have the parade on Friday, and you talked about seeing the boats up close and personal. Will people be able to actually go and visit the boats and see them and
absolutely
touch them?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're very accessible. The drivers, the throttlmen, everyone involved. They highly encourage everyone to come down. So if that in the lot that we're in, that we have all the boats right there on Lake Shore, I think it's fantastic. It's walking distance down here. Walking around is so convenient around here. So it's going to be packed, and we ask as many people want to come down and check them out that they do, because they're quite a sight.
And now you mentioned the end of the pier being the pit stop, if you will, for the boats to be loaded and offloaded into the water.
Yes.
So will all of the boats use that same area?
Yes.
So that would be the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Working really closely with the police and everyone down there, and you know, there's a lot of people down there involved. That it takes a group of people to coordinate all of this going on. So we're very fortunate to have, again, so many people here locally. They're enthusiastic about it. The mayor's very excited to bring us in. We really appreciate all his support, and it's so much easier to put on an event like this when there's so many people that are interested and support it. And Hector's help, I mean, he pays attention to details, so
Right.
we're working really hard.
Hector's kind of our phenomenal star.
Yeah,
He
great.
really does a lot of things, so we appreciate that. Now, one of the things that we've talked about, that when this race comes in, the boat race, certainly we're concerned about the economic benefit in the city. So, Mayor, bringing the whole show in with all the people and all of the things that are going to happen, the influx of not just the people themselves, but the dollars that will be spent. Tell me a little bit about what your economic expectations are.
Well, I think that our local merchants should be excited right now and preparing and planning accordingly, because my understanding is that this event could bring in more people than even the air show did. But I do believe that this will have an economic impact in the whole county. These folks are telling me that they've already booked 600 nights for the hotel room. And we expect that to increase. We expect that the hotels, not only in this area, but the whole northern end of the county, will be reaping the benefits of all these folks coming in. So we expect it to have a very positive impact economically on our whole county.
That's great, and I know you've had some additional support from the county. So.
Absolutely. I'd like to publicly thank our county executive and our county legislature. We attended a meeting, and we requested some funds from them to bring this event here. And without that kind of support, we certainly couldn't have this event. So I want to publicly thank them. And like I said, it's a teamwork type situation. We need the help from the county, and like I said, the state police have been involved, the Coast Guard's involved, many different organizations are involved. So this is a bigger event than we've had here in quite a while, and we're really looking forward to it.
And so now, Hector, we mentioned the previous summers when we've had the air show twice now. So this is something new and different. So we're taking it from the air into the water. So is there anything else that's going on that we need to talk about regarding any activity with the show that's happening?
Sure, we talked about some of the events that are happening simultaneously with the powerboat racing event. Larry Blyle, who's the executive director of the Race World Offshore, is with us today, and we coordinated an air act that will be implemented, and that'll involve Rick Bolker, who's a phenomenal pilot that we've used in our past air shows, and he will be doing an aerobatic assault during the intermission part of the
I hope not at the
powerboat
boats,
racing.
right?
So it's going to be just a fantastic addition to the powerboat racing event, and I think that you'll see something that's done a little bit differently than it's been done across the United States and some of the other sites where these gentlemen perform. So we're really looking forward to it.
So we're going to have a combination. And now also, we talked about the different bands and the other activity that's going on during this same weekend. Tell me a little bit about what else is happening.
Sure, we're doing the VIP tent, and again, without the sponsorships, DFT, Lakeshore Savings Bank, Phoenix, and we also have H&K Construction. We've got the SUNY Fredonia College, an incubator, Bart's Cove, Spike Dailies. Even these small sponsors are helping out. We're going to line the Central Avenue corridor with banners from some of our sponsors. It's going to be a beautiful area for that moment. You only have one time to get it right because it's going to be recorded live. So CBS crews will be filming that parade and the event itself, and I'm sure they'll do some editing, and you'll have a spectacular product, in the finals. But it couldn't be done without the sponsorships.
And then you mentioned the recording, and where is it going to be seen? I mean, will it just be seen locally?
No, it's going to be transmitted by CBS, but it'll be seen nationally and internationally. And then we're doing a live stream, which will be available to 105 different countries. So it's something we're even tying into our LED screen at the boardwalk. It's going to be available, and it's going to be a spectacular event. I'll say that again. Mary, you have anything to add?
No, I just was going to say that we're still working with Fredonia State University with the radio station there to see if we can air it live.
Oh, okay. So
That's correct.
that would be phenomenal. Of course, I'm sure we'll have our own Dunkirk Access channel out and about
Absolutely.
doing those sorts of things. So people want to watch that. You'd watch it to Spectrum 1301 or go to dunkerkaccess.com and watch it on YouTube. So we'll see it there as well.
Right, and one more thing I want to mention is that from Main Street to Wright Park, that area will be closed as it was for the air show, and the people will be able to line that corridor right up, and they can go down on the beach. 10 by 10 tents will probably be sold out for that event. So if you haven't gotten one by now, you better run to the store and grab one.
So now let me make sure I understand this. From Main Street to Wright Park on Lakefront Boulevard will be closed.
Right.
Correct? So people will still be able to park on the side streets.
Well, they'll have to leave room for emergency lanes. I believe the police and fire are on top of that. It'll work similar to what we did with the air show. They'll have to have emergency lanes in case someone has a heart attack or stroke or gets injured. But yes, that'll be closed. That area will be pedestrian traffic only.
Okay, that's very good. Now, Larry, you haven't said very much this time.
No,
The last time you were here, you did a great deal of talking.
Well, Roderick does a very good job of that.
So tell me a little bit about all of your different roles in this air show. What do you do? What's your role in this?
Well, I just make sure Larry gets to all his meetings and all his interviews, and that his family's looked after.
Oh, okay. Family's important. And Brittany, tell us a little bit about what your role is.
I work with a lot of the race teams prior to the event to get pre-registrations in and get everybody signed up, just so we know, kind of who's on track with everything, the communication aspect and different things like that. And then when the teams come into town, we get them checked in, we get them registered for the event, and then I also do scoring for the event. So we time the laps as they go around the race course and, count places, all that type of stuff, so we can push out the results as soon as possible afterwards.
So you and Hector will be competing for the two busiest people, right?
Probably so. Yes, it definitely gets to be a busy weekend, but it's a lot of fun and we're glad to be here.
And so now, Roderick, what time does all of this wrap up?
We will, after we do our awards ceremony, probably on stage, hopefully down on the pier, depending on when that starts, that might be somewhere around 5:30. We're still working out those details, and then I believe the band's going to continue on and still play. So I don't know. It might wrap up the next weekend. Who knows? It's going to be a long week.
Good. Well, we'll keep you around as long as we possibly
Great.
can.
Thank you.
And what band is going to be playing that night, Hector? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't. I know that the first night we have Evidence Front and there's Passion Works. I know we have Counterfeit involved. I don't have the schedule with me, but there's so many bands I've booked this year. It's over 50 bands, but we'll get that schedule out there and we'll start marketing it now that we've gotten our permitting done. So we'll definitely work on that.
Let me take a second here and just kind of digress back to where we started with the special events and with the bands.
Sure.
When Music on the Pier first started, and many people don't know this, when Music on the Pier first started under two previous administrations, I guess, it was a shorter season, and there was maybe one band each night. You have expanded this, you've made it a longer season, and we have two bands each night. In addition to Thursday night bands, we have things going on Friday.
Sure.
We have things going on all weekend long. So you have really made Music on the Pier the success that it is, and kudos to you for that, because it's really a great job, really a good job that you've done with that.
Well, thank you very much. We're proud of what we do here at Dunkirk Festivals and the Special Events Division of the Dunkirk Planning and Development Department. Yes, we've expanded our options, and the event has grown. We've won awards. I've been recognized by Senator Young, Governor Cuomo. We won the Community Award for the Music on the Pier Summer Concert Series. We bring in thousands and thousands of people at the pier. Just recently we had Uncle Ben's Remedy there, and we had probably 6,000 people there, and you couldn't walk. There was no more room for any more people there. It's just it's grown to a level never before seen, so we're very proud of that.
Right. Well, good job, and you deserve all the recognition for that
Well,
because you've worked hard for it. So
Once
thank
again,
you.
we want to thank the DFT and Schultz Resale Center, and also Lakeshore Savings Bank and Brooks TLC Kaleida for the sponsorship of the Music on the Pier Summer Concert Series event.
Okay, very good. And you all have just, we are so excited. I hear it everywhere I go that people say, well, now, when is that coming again? What's happening again? So we've been advertising and putting the word out for quite a while, and I'm sure over these next couple of weeks it's really going to just be everywhere where everybody is. It's going to be there. So we're excited to have you. Thank you so much. We're so ready for this phenomenal show. So thank you for coming. I really, speaking from the heart, I really appreciate it for all the residents for the city of Dunkirk. Well, hello. We're back now. We've had just finished our interview with our Great Lakes Grand Prix boat race individuals, and now we're here with a second part of the boat show that's going to include some aerobatics, right, in the air, some maneuvers. And so with that we have Rick Volker with his wife Trish. And before we talk to you all about what's going on, I have a couple of questions that the residents have sent in to me, so I need to respond to those. One of the questions dealt with the lifeguard stand at Main Street Beach. Main Street Beach is a very popular beach right now. However, the county has not released the beach as open for swimming, and so therefore the lifeguard stand is not staffed. So please abide by the county restrictions when you go there to that beach. Please refrain from swimming in that area. Another question dealt with sidewalks on North Roberts Road leading down to Lakefront Boulevard. The sidewalk issue is one that can be dealt with in a couple of ways. I referred this question to our DPW Director, Randy Woodbury, and Director Woodbury advised me that generally sidewalks are a program that the city partners with the residents. There's a percentage the city pays and the resident pays, so that's a part of it. The other part of it is that he will also look for possible grant funding through our CDBG Administrator Matt Bork. So know that question is being addressed and it is being responded to. The third question that came up was about the street paving leading to the Lakefront Boulevard. And Hector, I'm going to let you respond to that.
And what was the question? I'm sorry.
The question was the street that needed to be paved regarding
Which street was that?
Deer Street between Lakeshore Drive and the waterfront.
Okay, the extension on Deer Street. So, after talking with the DPW director and Mayor Rosas, we've found out that that street is going to be paved next week.
Next week. So that's happening. So send in your questions or comments if you have more. With that being said, let's get right into it. Now, Hector is our Special Events and Festivals Coordinator, and you have really outdone yourself with the planning for this upcoming boat race. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in our halftime show.
Well, thanks for your compliments. But well, first of all, I just want to thank our sponsors of the Great Lakes Offshore Grand Prix, the DFT Communications, celebrating 120 years here in our community, and we also have Athenex Corporation, the new drug manufacturing plant here in Dunkirk. If you go by Route 5, you'll see all the action going on in there and the development of that new plant that's coming in and creating numerous hundreds of jobs there. And we also have Lakeshore Savings Bank, and they're celebrating 128 years, I guess, in our community here, and they're another sponsor of our air show event that we're going to do in collaboration with the Great Lakes Offshore Grand Prix. We're really working hard on it. It's been a lot of hard work, and we want to thank Dunkirk Aviation for their help with the FAA permit, and I think we're ready to rock and roll with this.
Well, okay. Well, that's a perfect segue into Rick Volker and his wife, Trish. Now, Rick, you're the pilot. You're the stunt man. You're the one that's up there flying around in the air. Tell me a little bit about the kind of plane and what it is that you do.
I fly a Russian aerobatic plane that was created to win the World Championships of Aerobatics in the height of the Cold War. No cost object. It can do anything that you can imagine. It can take, or I can take, up to 12 Gs of forces in this, so I'll weigh 12 times my body weight during some of these maneuvers. And the type of maneuvers I do are almost similar to a child throwing a small toy through the air, spinning and tumbling, end over end, seemingly out of control. Very violent, a lot of engine noise, a lot of the excitement that the boaters are after is also available in the air. And I'm going to show in 3 dimensions what can be done.
Oh my heavens! And so now, how long does it? how long are you up there doing these things?
A solid 10 minutes, and it's a lot of work for 10 minutes, believe me.
Oh, I guess. So people are just, by the time they get through watching, their necks have to be.
Their necks are probably not as strained as mine at
Oh.
that time.
And now, Trish, you play a major role in what's going on. You're the individual who's actually on the ground. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Well, what I'll be doing during the show is trying to provide the audience with a little bit of an explanation as to some of the maneuvers that Rick is doing in the plane. I certainly won't be going through each and every one because the plane and he move so quickly that I can't keep up. And so I'll be providing a little bit of background to the plane, to the pilot, and the performance that Rick is going through, some of the maneuvers.
And I understand you yourself are a pilot.
I am. I recently got my license, but I'm far more comfortable flying straight and level than I am in doing some of the 3D things that Rick does. But one of these days, you never know.
Oh, okay. Well, good. We might see a tandem performance at some time,
Yeah,
right?
You never know.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful news. Now, your show is going to be between the 2 heats, where the boat races are. Explain a little bit about what that means, Hector.
Well, we're still finalizing the schedule of events, but we've included the air show to come in after the first heat. The first intermission will take place. Now, if you take into account that each heat will take roughly about 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the water conditions and the speeds the boats are going. Rick will probably be in the air between 1 o'clock and 1:15 p.m. That's what we're thinking right now. That could change by Friday. We have to receive our marine permit yet from the U.S. Coast Guard and Homeland Security to confirm that. So it's very, very detailed plans that were submitted, and it's very hard. This is a prelude to what could happen in the future with a full air show and a full powerboat event in collaboration. It could be done here in Dunkirk because we have the greatest show line, and the pilots themselves say whenever they come here to Dunkirk, it's one of the finer show lines they've ever seen. Am I right, Rick?
That's right. That's right. And
Well, and I think that speaks highly for certainly our mayor and his administration for what he's doing to bring the whole area up economically and to develop our waterfront. But also, it speaks very well of what you're doing. I mean, you have got to be the man who never gets any sleep because you're working. So you mentioned if we were to have the boat race and the air show at the same time, I mean, that would be huge.
And thanks to Lakeshore Savings for having the vision to contribute and make this happen.
Right, Lakeshore Savings, they have been great sponsorships for many of the things that we have done with the city of Dunkirk, and you're just one of them. Now, you are from what area?
I'm from Niagara Falls, New
Niagara
York.
Falls, and you have a day job,
I'm a practicing dentist.
a practicing dentist.
But I moved my office about a mile away from Niagara Falls Airport so I could practice my air show routine every day. And that is a big part of becoming safe with this type of maneuvering. So for the last 20 years in the air show industry, I've been practicing and choreographing these maneuvers. First at altitude, thousands of times, to be able to bring it safely down to a spectator-friendly distance.
Now, you speak of safety. Certainly, is there anyone else in the plane with you? And what
No.
do you? Okay. Now, how do you prepare for the possible unknown, or from the safety aspects?
We plan ahead of time, or I say I plan ahead of time. Most airshow pilots plan ahead of time by leaving a certain maneuver that you could exit any possible emergency from in a safe direction. And I have a parachute. But all the energy of the aircraft is directed away from the crowd at all times. At the closest, it's parallel, so it's never placing any spectator in danger. And this has had a perfect safety record over the last, let's say, 60 years of air shows.
How high will you be over the water?
I will be from 10 feet over the water, upside down, up to about 2,000 feet.
Wow.
Perfect for viewing, though. You'll be looking up at, from level to up at maybe a 45-degree angle for the viewers.
Okay. And now, how fast does your plane go?
Up to, well, that's another thing. The Russian coach that I had said, no airspeed indicator airspeed indicator around once good, around twice good, around 3 times too fast. So
Oh, okay.
that's all I can say.
So if
That's
you're
about
not-
300 miles an hour probably.
Okay. All right. So when you're up doing those maneuvers and you're, what did you call them, end over end?
Or tumbling, and yeah, that's why I can't keep up. I just can't keep up with some of the
Sometimes I'm
maneuvers, so
going
the crowd won't get
backwards
it.
by 60 miles an hour. So,
Okay. Have you ever had any accidents while you're up there doing these things?
no.
So and how long have you been doing
I've had
this?
emergencies that I've dealt with without panicking, luckily,
Okay.
and just following a logical sequence on how to handle them and taking care of them, and that's it. There's always risk to anything that's motorsport, but they can be managed.
Okay. And now how long have you been doing this? How long have you been flying?
About 22 years.
Okay. And have you been with him all this time?
No, we've been together for 13 years. So.
Oh, okay.
And I did not have my pilot's license when we met, but I certainly was interested in getting it, and that was the push to make me go to the airport a little bit more frequently.
Oh,
So-
all right. Okay, good. So now when he's doing these tumbling acts and these things that are 10 feet off the water up to 2,000 feet, how about you? Is your heart up there with him, or are you able to keep it in check?
Oh, there's no doubt that when Rick is flying, he is totally aware of his surroundings and is more comfortable doing that than perhaps some of the other things that one does during the day. He is a consummate professional. As he mentioned, he has practiced thousands and thousands of times, and so I have no concerns at all. And I know that he's happy doing what he does, and he does it well, so I hope that the crowd appreciates that.
I'm sure that they will. Now, when we've had our air shows here before, did you participate in
Yes.
them? You did. Okay, great. So now
Different
you-
aircraft, though.
Oh, what
I
aircraft
flew a
did you
World War
use in?
II aircraft before.
Okay. Was that one that had the wing
It was a
walker
big
on
yellow
it?
one. If anybody saw a big yellow plane, that was me.
Anybody who was and attended the air shows can't forget that. It was a bright canary-looking
Yes.
plane, and it was a very, very nice plane.
Okay, I remember a yellow plane. I just didn't know what was happening with it. So now, have you done anything with the wing walkers before, or have you ever done
I
any
have
of
not
that?
I've been asked to actually fly for wing walkers, which I've not done it at this time. I'm actually, I critique them, and I qualify pilots to fly for wing walkers, but I have not done it myself. So
Oh, okay.
I'm involved with that as every aspect of air show flying that you can imagine. But I've selected the part where I feel that I'm the best. I like to be the best at anything I do. I'm very competitive.
That's good. Being the best is important. Also, hopefully, that means you're being the safest as
The safest,
well.
that qualifies.
Right.
Yep.
So you're making this like almost a regular annual event now. This will be your 3rd year here.
I really enjoy this area. I feel it's local support. I really am enthusiastic about making this everything it can be. So I'll do everything I can to contribute, make it as absolutely adrenaline exciting as anybody that wants to watch is going to be thrilled.
I'm sure that it will. And actually, you were one of the cliffhangers that Hector had kind of teased us all with for a few months now, saying there's something special, just look for it. So I'm glad it's you, and welcome. We're so happy to have you a part of the show and a part of the huge weekend. Tell us about how this weekend is going to kick off and what's going to happen.
Well, first of all, Rick, we're very proud to have you and to sign the contract with you, and you're a true professional. I know you pay attention to detail, and that's why one of the reasons the mayor chose you. So
I thank the
there was
mayor.
3 other pilots we looked at, and we're very happy with the choice we made.
Great.
As far as the event, it actually becomes a 4-day event with the music on the pier on the 16th, which is a Thursday. It'll take place at the pier, and it's I believe it's a Chicago Authority. It's a Chicago tribute band, and then that's sponsored by the Dunkirk Chamber of Commerce. And the opening band for that act is the Zen City, the band. It's a local band. But that kicks off our 4-day weekend. The Friday we have the community parade, where the power boats will be showcased on flatbeds and paraded through the city, just past City Hall. It forms at the high school, and that'll be about 5 o'clock. And then it'll pass the City Hall, northerly on Central Avenue, and it'll disperse at the pier, where the mayor will welcome in all the CBS officials and the Great Lakes Offshore Race World officials, and of course our pilots. And it's going to be a wonderful event. We look forward. Rick will be doing his show on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
both days.
Both days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's
So
great.
We're very fortunate to have you, Rick. And
Yeah.
it's been
Happy to be here.
Been wonderful to see your lovely wife again,
And Vicki, you're doing a marvelous job with this City Speaks shows.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, the City Speaks is all about the residents, and it's all about providing an opportunity for the residents to hear right from the horse's mouth, whether it's our council people, our mayor, of course, all of his cabinet, his administrators, certainly Hector, and anything that's going on in the city. It's for the residents, and this is a new show. It was a vision of the mayor's to make it happen, and we're just proud to be a part of it. So watch City Speaks. If you have questions, comments, call in, send your emails, let me know. Our next show is going to feature two of our councilmen, Councilman Marty Bamonto and Councilman Mike Civiletto. So if you have questions for the two councilmen, let me know what they are. And thank you so much. Thank you, Rick. Thank you,
for having me.
Trish.
Thanks, Vicki.
And you're welcome. Take care and have a great day.